Zimbabwe, a land filled with diversity and beautiful landscapes. Once the breadbasket of Africa, now in the midst of the ravaging effects of climate change, which has devastated the agricultural landscape across the world. And the ones that are most impacted are the farmers in our community who show signs of financial burdens due to this ever-worsening phenomenon.
As evidence, according to the World Food Programme, the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukraine war has caused a 40% increase in fertilizer prices in Zimbabwe due to the escalating cost of raw materials, as Russia is one of the major exporters to Africa.
Sadly, according to FAO, over 11,700,000 Zimbabweans rely on small-scale farming, and 8 million of them live below the poverty datum line of $90 per day. Sustaining their families becomes difficult, let alone feeding the land. Therefore, they farm on small pieces of land equivalent to the farming inputs they have, leaving the bigger pieces of land unproductive.
And this showed us our first problem. Our farmers needed an alternative fertilizer.
And from the International Fertilizer Society, approximately 2.1% of the total emission of greenhouse gases is caused by synthetic fertilizer production, causing the depletion of the ozone layer, contributing to climate change.
According to FAO, approximately 40% of African agricultural land is degraded due to the over-reliance on synthetic fertilizers, causing soil acidification, natural soil nutrient depletion, leading to reduced crop yield.
And as cited by FAO and Global Forest Watch, Zimbabwe has an alarming 2.7% rate of deforestation. And in 2022, we lost 8.26 kilo hectares of tree cover, equivalent to 4.29 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions due to agriculture and other human activities.
And all this brings us to our second problem. Agriculture should not contribute to climate change.
Covering 2,103 kilometers invested in key requirement analysis, we attended 9 provincial field days, and with the help of Agritech's officers, we conducted surveys through the distribution of questionnaires based on agricultural practices. The findings were incredibly disheartening and alarming.
Development aid from People to People Frontline Institute, an international organization, enlightened us on ways to improve the livelihoods of women, youth, and marginalized communities through sustainable agriculture, organic farming practices, and project management. This was through the engagements we made with their delegates.
So the million-dollar question becomes, how can we provide sustainable organic products and practices, conserve the environment, and at that same time keep the profit agenda?
Picking from the concept of a circular economy, a matrix of solutions arise, which harnesses all potential from organic resources. We call this the
organic bucket.
A project split into 4 phases, which we call divisions. It addresses the problems of the people, ensuring a safe planet, and at the same time, yielding us profit.
My colleagues and I love to call the first phase agricultural input. This phase focuses on the production of organic liquid fertilizer and organic pesticides, focusing on bringing costs down and productivity up with zero harm to the environment. We collected animal droppings and essential plant biomass from our school farm, which we perfectly fermented in specific ratios to yield the best nutrient result. Our fertilizer showed a constant level of potassium and phosphorus, but a little nitrogen. This pushed us to do further research on how we could increase the constant levels in potassium and nitrogen. We found out that Sesbania leaves and rabbit urine contain nitrogen and could address this issue, hence we added it to our product.
And Ray, the results from the Department of Research and Specialist Services of Zimbabwe showed a perfect harmony of nutrients within our fertilizer compared to the other alternatives. And our pesticides focus on non-chemicals and providing organic foods. We extracted essential active oils and rabbit urine extracts to make this. And these have worm, spider, and aphid repelling effects.
And with 6,375 hours invested in this project, we managed to produce 11,500 liters of the organic liquid fertilizer. And about 500 liters was used in the community demo plot. And the remaining 11,000 was sold at $2.75 per 5 liter, generating an income of $6,050. At maximum capacity within our industry, we have a potential of producing 15,000 liters within 3 days to give us 1,800,000 liters in a year, yielding an income of $990 a year.
A bag of synthetic fertilizer costs $94 compared to our organic liquid fertilizer, which costs $27 and covers the same amount of land. Our product proved to be 70% more efficient compared to the alternatives they were using. In terms of application, our farmers were urged to dilute a concentrate of the fertilizer in the ratio 1:10 parts water. In terms of productive efficiency, using 71% less money, our smallholder farmers managed to fully utilize their land compared to when they were using synthetic fertilizer. Our organic pesticides generated a total income of $3,300, and by the end of 2024, we are projecting an income of $43,000 through our partnerships.
This year alone, we engaged 441 households, and 212 of them had an increased average weekly income from $30 to $105, giving a grand total of $22,260. And through our teaching of sustainable agriculture, we were able to address SDG goal number 2 and 12 respectively. And now these farmers are able to send their children to school.
The second phase of this project is clean and affordable energy. To mitigate the problems associated with deforestation and high use of fossil fuel, we collected essential plant biomass from our fertilizer, which was being used as an energy source in most households since it proved to be environmentally friendly and cost-effective. Munashe, this resulted in a 32% decrease in deforestation in several communities, reducing carbon emissions since biogas is an 88% less emission rate, implementing SDG goal number 7 and 15. We also implemented afforestation by planting sesbania, one of our key raw materials.
The third phase of our project is called animal rearing, where we have invested in education and proper rearing facilities, which has opened another avenue which Diana has fallen in love with, which we call the organic meat industry. And we are also engaging in education, where we engaged with community and local radios, which have a coverage of 359 kilometers and a listening in audience of over 3 million people. And through the teaching of sustainable agriculture to farmers and students, we have been able to engage with high school students, and we've established an Enactus junior club furthering SDG goal number 4.
The last phase of this project, climate action, focuses on creating biodegradable plastics to mitigate plastic pollution. With Zimbabwe producing 1.65 million tons of waste and 0.3 being plastic waste, we aim to reduce this significantly, furthering the fight for climate action. We have managed to recycle 5 tons of agricultural waste into reliable products. And with all this said, ladies and gentlemen, we have become the pioneers of the 3 R's of a circular economy model, addressing SDG goal number 11, 13, 14, and 15.
As part of our future plans, we want to grow and scale up our production to meet the growing demand of organic liquid fertilizers. And if we get a capital injection of $1 million, we want to expand from 11,500 liters to 1,800,000 in terms of production.
Moving on, Diana, we want to establish animal rearing units for easier access to our raw materials. Secondly, we also want to venture more into tree planting for Sesbania, which will not only benefit us, but the community at large. Lastly, we want to improve our technological agricultural aspects, such as thin hydrogeofume, hydroponics, and aeroponics to combat climate change.
To summarize our journey, we recycled 5 tons of agricultural waste into reliable products. We directly impacted 441 households. We also indirectly impacted 1,162 Zimbabweans. And by the end of 2024, we are projecting a total income of $1,033,000.
My name is I'm from Mozambique. I learned more for students for university about organic farming and manure.
Liquid organic fertilizer inoita kuti miriwo yangu ikurumidze kukura plus inenge yakasvibira zvokuti zvinofadza maziso. Then igora ndaiwana ndisati ndakushandisa liquid fertilizer ranga rakadzikira zvokuti pavhiki ndaigona kuwana $30 asi ko zvinezvi ndakukwanisa kuwana mari inoita 80 and above.
What the organic bucket has been able to do has been able to cater for marginalized farmers and commercial farmers at the same time, where we teach marginalized farmers to have a secular economy where they have all the resources they want within a small piece of land. And commercial farmers now have access to organic products which are easier to use and provide with them organic products which are better for them to use. And we are
Enactus, Zimbabwe.
We will now begin the question and answer session. Only judges may ask questions. Judges, please raise your hand if you wish to ask a question. Kindly wait for someone to hand you a microphone, and then before asking your question, state your name and organization.
Veerle Korsten from Young Impact. Thank you guys for your presentation. You're making a lot of impact on different fronts, but that also directly leads me to my question. I'm wondering, how are you going to focus your effort, energy, and fundings in the future?
Thank you. We are focusing on a project that has a holistic approach. Since we have got a large number of enactors at our school, we are able to divide all this attention equally with everyone being involved.
I'm worrying about the price of organic fertilizer compared with synthetic fertilizers. Are you sure? Is it cheaper than synthetic fertilizers? And is it stable or not?
We are sure from the test that we made that the organic fertilizer is cheaper in terms of production compared to synthetic fertilizers. And it is more effective as from the results that we had and made.
Hi, my name is Ninoshka from Repurpose Coffee. I have one doubt. Like you do 2 products, the organic fertilizer and the pesticide, do you sell them at the same price or is different, the selling price?
Okay, thank you for your question. The organic pesticides are actually sold at a different price. They cost $3 per liter, which is cheaper than the alternatives they were using, which were costing $11 for a small piece of land. Thank you.
Well done, Zimbabwe. I'm Jack from South Africa. My question is, if I got you you're saying you're selling your fertilizers at $27, which is significantly lower than what you would have actually imported from, from Russia, if I'm correct. So what led you to, how did you determine the selling price, and is it also sustainable?
We determine the price of our fertilizer by catering for all production costs from the picking of our raw materials to the production itself and our fixed costs, which are our tanks and everything else involved, to give us that price. So it is sustainable, and even if we are to expand and explore other moves of production, it is still going to be on the same price because we have also catered that into our pricing.
Probably run out of time. Quick question. You're selling it to both commercials and farmers themselves. Why do you make this choice when it's especially these individual marginalized farmers that struggle with pricing issues?
We are not selling to the marginalized. That's why we emphasized more on training farmers on sustainable agriculture. We are teaching them to create a circular economy where they rear their own animals to create their own fertilizer, and also have a tree planting process where they use the biomass to make the fertilizer as well.
Only one suggestion for guys, and the value of organic fertilizer is not the price, but value organic, and accent this for future entrepreneurs and B2B business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you thought of patenting the product?
It is actually in the Zambuko patenting process in Zimbabwe at the moment, and we have already conserved everything, the name and all the patents that we have.
Have you thought of expanding to other countries?
Yes,